In the relatively short period since taking office, Prime Minister Keir Starmer has faced increasing public dissatisfaction, evidenced by a recent petition to remove him from power, which so far has garnered over 2.5 million signatures. This wave of discontent highlights a growing divide between Starmer's leadership and the expectations of a significant portion of the public. The dissatisfaction stems from several controversial decisions and policies that have led many to question whether the Labour leader has lived up to his promises. One of the most divisive decisions has been Starmer's commitment to honour the International Criminal Court's arrest warrant for Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu. While this move was seen by some as a step toward accountability and international justice, others viewed it as a reckless decision that jeopardized the UK's diplomatic relationship with the United States. With Donald Trump poised to assume the presidency, vowing economic retaliation against any nation assisting in Netanyahu's arrest, many felt Starmer's choice was a diplomatic blunder that risked damaging the UK economy. Criticism has also focused on Starmer's domestic economic policies, particularly his handling of the cost of living crisis and his stance on public spending. Many believe that he has not done enough to alleviate economic pressures on struggling families. The Labour government's decisions on taxation and spending cuts have been perceived as lacking in empathy, failing to support the most vulnerable during an inflationary period. These policies have been seen as a betrayal of traditional Labour values, alienating segments of his own party base. Starmer's leadership has been marked by a clear attempt to shift the Labour Party towards a centrist position, abandoning some of the more progressive policies championed by his predecessor, Jeremy Corbyn. This ideological pivot has angered members of the party's left-wing and grassroots activists, who feel that Starmer is out of touch with their priorities and is pandering to a more moderate electorate. This tension has fueled the perception that he is more concerned with appealing to conservative voters than maintaining Labour's core principles. Keir Starmer has publicly downplayed the significance of the petition, arguing that such numbers are not surprising for any sitting Prime Minister. In his view, the number represents a vocal minority rather than a broad reflection of the national will. Starmer's logic hinges on the assumption that, in a country of over 67 million people, millions of citizens are always going to be dissatisfied with whoever holds power, and therefore, the signatures are not indicative of a true political crisis. He maintains that petitions, regardless of size, are not substitutes for general elections, which he considers the true democratic test. While Starmer may dismiss the current petition, there is a tipping point at which a petition's sheer size and momentum could become impossible to ignore. To put this into perspective, in the 2019 general election, Labour secured 10.3 million votes. For Starmer, a petition approaching or exceeding this number would signify a direct challenge to his party's electoral mandate. If a petition were to hit around 5 million signatures, it would likely create significant media buzz and attract greater political attention. This level of support would be equivalent to about 10% of the voting population, signalling a substantial number of disillusioned citizens. Should the petition surpass the 10 million mark, Starmer would be facing a situation that could no longer be dismissed as a fringe movement. At that point, it would carry the weight of a national referendum, with implications for his legitimacy as Prime Minister. Beyond raw numbers, the trajectory of the petition matters. If the number of signatures continues to rise steadily, it could indicate a growing wave of public dissent, putting additional pressure on Starmer to respond. Media coverage would likely intensify, with journalists, opposition politicians, and pundits scrutinizing each of his decisions. A petition that gains momentum week by week would create a narrative of a leader losing the confidence of the people. Moreover, as the petition grows, it could embolden other political actors, even from within Starmer's own party, to challenge his leadership. Dissenting MPs, unions, and local Labour activists might call for internal reviews or leadership contests, especially if the numbers suggest that Starmer is risking Labour's chance of re-election. Keir Starmer's leadership is at a crossroads. The petition to remove him from office, with over 2.5 million signatures, reveals a deep dissatisfaction among a sizable segment of the public. His attempt to dismiss this discontent reflects confidence or perhaps overconfidence in his political mandate. Yet, if the numbers continue to grow and the media continues to amplify the grievances of those who feel unheard, Starmer might be forced to reconsider his position. In the end, it isn't just about the absolute number of signatures, but about the broader political pressure, the narrative momentum, and whether Starmer's government can adapt to the shifting tides of public opinion before it's too late.